Hello, world, and today we welcome José Stelle. Canada becoming a Pittsburgh. How about Panama City?
That has to be understood. Canada has to be understood in terms of his idea of tariffs, which he should not impose, or other ways to handle these problems. Okay, so if the United States, the good American workers suffering here, working like crazy and being robbed by his own government, is subsidizing the Canadian industry or something, or the system, okay, let's fix that. There's no need to add Canada to create another state, right? Panama Canal, that is a tough one there,
I think we should take it over.
Yeah, but then what's going to happen? The Latin American communists and socialists are going to go there with rocket propelled.
Shouldn't have ever been given to them to start with.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that should be put under some international control or something like that, so that it doesn't, this is something that Americans don't understand, but I, as a Brazilian, as a Latin American, understand. Latin Americans, Brazilians, these people, they have their own nationalism, their own patriotism, and they don't want some foreign power to come in and start messing with them.
Yeah, but they want foreign powers what they built.
Oh, well. Okay. We, China is buying favors and spreading money around
Now, if they say, okay, we'll just let all American freight and stuff go through here at a very, very, very low price. You build the canal, you give it to us. I think that would be good. Of course, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Everything has to be.
We need some serious negotiation there. We need, of course, why are these things happening? Why is China influential there? Obviously, the Panamanian socialists agreed to it, right? They were bought by Chinese money, right? Now they're thinking of creating a Panama Canal through Mexico there which is like a crazy. I don't like these environmental bridges and things that simply listen, Panama Canal, for example, separated, by this construction, separated the animals from South America to the ones in North America or in Central America, right? So there's no movement of genetic material across that line because it's being blocked, right? I think that nature should make us think about when we do these things. What would I like to see? I'd like to see, if I were king of the world tomorrow, I would like to see all dams and all dams and all these type of dams and Bratsk stations. It's the old Soviet Union, destroyed, let the rivers flow the way they're supposed to flow. They're thinking about this now, to make the American desert more fertile, they're thinking about this. Divert the Mississippi River water for agriculture in the Midwest or in the West there. Absolutely not. Let the Mississippi River flow down the sea. Break those dams in the Mississippi River and let the waters flow. Let nature do what it's supposed to do, though.
There have to be some kind of control for flooding. Also, the thought come to me about these solar panels and thousands of acres and destroying farmland to put up solar panels. That is something that's cutting into our food chain. I don't think, putting solar panels on top of buildings, stuff in there, But when you take thousands of acres and put panels up, when it comes a hailstorm, it tears them all to pieces.
Yeah. Well, you can see that there's a lack of interest between the companies, putting these things in agricultural land, and the individual who just wants to put it on top of his house. Because if you put it on top of your house, then you're going to diminish the the income or the profits of the of Florida Power Light, right? So you have all these, you have these different niches fighting each other, and things happening. On the one hand, our great representatives allow farmland to be covered by these things, and on the other hand, they try to subsidize the solar panels for houses, or just to get votes, just to say we're doing something, right?
It's all about politics, the windmills.
Not politics. There's no politics in America or in Brazil or anywhere else.
Well,
politics is what we need. We don't have it.
No, but what I'm calling politics.
Yeah. That's the common term.
That is their way of making money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, solar energy is good.
Yeah.
But there's a place for it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's not a place for
There's
it.
no place. Also, these wind turbines in different fields.
Windmills,
I'm not so sure about that either.
Yeah, I seen a special on 60 Minutes, and it was over in Wales or somewhere in that area, and they had all these big windmills with the turbines.
Yeah,
I see them. You know what the guy said? We're paying more for electricity than all them out there.
Yeah.
All that stuff is now. Back in the days, everybody had windmills to draw the water out of the wells, and and all that.
Yeah.
And they still do some places.
Yeah.
But these are not beneficial to our energy. It's just another way to make China money, make South Korea money. There's a place in Dalton, Georgia. They built this big giant plant, and I work with them. I work with them a little about recycling the material that comes out. They have no idea what to do.
Oh yeah. And not only that, they're not really interested. And if they vote on something, they may vote on something they don't understand. I was in the city, what do you call it? Not city planning. I guess city planning commission of the city of Green Acres, Florida, for a few months. And as, let's say, a politician there, right? Not a politician, but I was on the board or whatever you call it. We didn't understand the technical things that we were dealing with. So the bureaucrats, or the ones who actually run the show, they would come and explain to us what's actually happening and get us to agree to his point of view, right? Heaven knows why he was saying what he was saying. Maybe he was on the pay of somebody else to say that and get us to approve that particular thing, right? And then we have, for example, in Congress, you have these omnibus bills, right, which are usually written around, passed very quickly on the 2 o'clock in the morning on the 23rd of December while the people are shopping and not paying attention to it. They do it on a Friday afternoon, so by Monday morning it will be forgotten. And so they all vote for each other's horrendous projects, right? I vote for your library in Podunk City with your grandfather's name on it, and you vote for my bridge to nowhere in Alaska,
Yeah.
We're talking about a system of legalized robbery here, right? This is, but that's what democracy does, right? There's no rule of law here. And even our judges are selected by these people. We should not have politicians selecting judges, right, and approving them by majority. There has to be some other way of, by some random means and competence and short terms in office, select our judges.
But the judges are not, they're not going by the law. They go by
they say
the policies,
I would say that, I would say that the moment a judge is selected, I don't like the idea of judges being elected. That should not exist. That's that's democracy, and that's terrible. But I don't think they should be appointed by politicians and the president or the governor, right? There should be some other system controlled by the people in some other way,
No,
in which perhaps then the Senate or the president can say, okay, I agree that this guy should be judge for the next 6 years, and then after that he's gone, right? But it should not be these are partisan appointments, and you can tell that they are partisan appointments, right? I mean, the idea of selecting what's his name, Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court, I'm glad the Republicans rejected that, because that was an awful appointment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, then there's something wrong with that man, you know? And so on and so forth, you know? So let's take all of this. Since Trump has been elected, okay, will Trump be able to make America great again? All right, first we have to define what that means, but let's say that, you know, let's say that it's a positive thing and we sort of know what it is. Will he be able to do that, to implement his vision or the vision of, you know, reduce government, lower taxes?
What will make America great again?
Will he be able to do it? No. He will be undermined. Huh?
It's such a mess. He'd have to be in there 20 years.
Oh, yeah. That's another problem with democracy, is that the person is elected and does something, and then the next guy who comes over destroys everything that was been done. You know, for example, you know, the 162nd Congress or whatever it is may pass a law saying, okay, we're going to do away with the privatization of Social Security. And they have enough of a majority there, and they do it. Well, the next, you know, another coalition of people will come in 8 or 10 or 12 years later and destroy it and go back to the way it is today, because they want to control that money. You know, Social Security, so-called trust fund, is not a trust fund; it's a slush fund.
Yeah,
you know, so it's a slush fund.
Slush for them, and
yeah. Yeah, the idea that the people are in control of their government through democracy is really not true. It's a dangerous concept. But it's the kind of stuff that was, it was the solution that was invented at the time of, you know, in the 17th century as a way of getting rid of the monarchy, because the monarchy was the problem, right? Yeah. The tyranny of these monarchies. And so it seemed to be the next thing to do. Well, we've had about at least 250 years of this stuff, and it's getting worse and worse.
It's like,
you know,
it's like my mother told me one time. She said, you marry a woman, they can take more out the back door with a teaspoon than you can bring in the front door with a wheelbarrow. So our government is like a woman that gets wheelbarrows of money brought in, and all the things they can give away, they take it with a teaspoon, and they give it away so fast you can't even keep up with the wheelbarrow.
Well, you're being called, what they call these people who are anti-woman, I forget the word right now.
No, I'm not being
yeah.
There's just some women like that. There's men. Yeah. There's men that women have better sense to manage the money than the men.
Yeah.
I mean, it works both ways.
Oh, yeah. Well, my mother was the manager. I mean, without my mother, we would have been in dire poverty. My father didn't know how to do it.
I've seen a lot of women smarter than a lot of men, I'll tell you that.
Well, what we need here, constitutionally speaking, right, politically speaking, the correct meaning of the word politics as the conciliation, the peaceful conciliation of all these ideas under law, under the principle law, under the definition of law, right? Under the definition of what the rule of law is, how can we conciliate all these things, bring them together? Well, what we need here is a good marriage, right?
Yeah.
A good, holy, central, well-done marriage, and that's what we don't have. That's
Our system
okay.
is like,
Pardon?
our system is like that show I did, Divorce is Hell. The government is like
Yeah.
a woman and a man, and one of the men maybe be good about taking care of the money, but then they got this one that blows it, and vice versa,
Oh yeah.
And I have no problem with the woman president. It's just
No.
I don't. I just want somebody qualified.
Yeah. Well, and to be qualified, you have to go back to, Plato and Aristotle.
Yeah, and I don't care if they're black.
And not only that,
whatever,
this is
as long as they're from the country.
yeah.
That's all that matters.
John Adams said regarding the Constitution of Massachusetts, which he had helped to write, but then it was modified by others. But obviously, I'm sure that as president, he discovered that to be true of our federal Constitution. He said that the grave mistake of our Constitution, he referred to the Massachusetts, but obviously it's the same as the federal one. He says is that it created, whatever the good intentions were, it created a system in which you have two parties, led by one leader, trying to fight one another for supremacy, and that's what we have. And he said this is the gravest mistake of our Constitution. And he also said something else. It is absolutely not true that democracy makes men, people, men. Of course, in those days, men were the rulers, the senators and politicians,
But
legislatures and whatever. He says there's no proof throughout history, never existed, the idea that democratic systems are more, and let's say, depend more or on people who are less greedy, less evil, less cunning than the other systems we had before. He says this is absolutely not true, and that's one of the problems that we have created in the United States, is that we have created a system that actually allows basically evil, ill-intentioned, or stupid people. They work together. Some are this, some are that. Cunning, who want money and power, and we have created a system that produces this sort of government run by such people. And he was very depressed at the end of his life. So was Jefferson too. That they said something very wrong is going on here, and they sort of worried about what would happen. Of course, they had the problem of slavery and all of that later on.
Politicians, they remind me of these so-called $1,000 blessings that these preachers get.
Oh yeah.
People are deceived, bewitched, whatever. They're talking about witchcraft. They're the one that's witch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lady, she does that stuff.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna say everybody knows who she is. She's supposed to have been a witch and all that, but she got all these followers. I think she's still a witch because she's teaching them too much.
Yeah.
Garbage.
So I'd like to help the Trump administration in some way if I could, work there. But you would need. This is something that. It's something that Hayek says. It's only one way to do something, and it doesn't matter whether good people use that method or bad people use that method. There's only one way to do it. I think that the Chinese with longer terms, right? Let's say 20-year terms or 10-year terms, if we had that here, perhaps, under the system that I propose, not under a democratic electoral system, right, in which, let's say, forget about even, because in the Chinese system, it's still partisan. It's still chosen because people like each other or want to expel somebody. But if we have the idea of, instead of having a system that goes up and down depending on every election, we have a system that goes in a straight line because that's how it works. There is no partisanship. People have shorter terms. They cannot be reelected. Public service, perhaps, except in the military and these highly developed professions that demand a lot of education and training for a long period, especially practical training for a long period of time, right? I don't know, let's say director of the CIA or something like that, or people that work. Other than that, nobody should be in public service for life or for any extended period.
As a friend of mine told me he just wanted to be happy, I told him he's living in the wrong world.
Well,
and when you think it's going to go like this, you're living in the wrong world.
Well, the thing is this, that every revolution attempts to do something. And the American Revolution attempted to do something, right? And then they, So, yeah, there will be a revolution. There will be a civil war. There will be something. Yeah. And it all depends on who is actually running that war or that revolution to promote whatever, it is. Of course, as James Madison says in one of his Federalist Papers, the difficulty is in the diversity of feelings and thoughts in the minds of people, right? How can you conciliate all of that? Because ignorance itself produces all sorts of mistaken conclusions and feelings, right? Basically, thoughts determine feelings. And if you have, good feelings, it's because the thinking power behind it is correct, right? So in the end, of course, we go back to Plato. The fundamental problem is education, not education in the sense of, stuffing the minds of kids with all sorts of information, although that's necessary as far as the practical things are concerned, but of a superb moral education that would produce, more noble thoughts, more noble ideas, and as a result, more noble feelings and ability to conciliate and say, okay, yeah, let's agree to that, rather than be enemies all the time,
Yeah, the younger generation today don't have no idea what's going on.
Well,
I mean, Walter's world, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, did they?
Walters, he does his interviews, and you see they don't even know who the president is.
Right. But did they in 1895 know any better? I don't think so. Which again goes back to something that Plato said. He said, even though he himself was not a believer in religion or in God, he says the idea of God has to be implanted in people's minds, and the fear of God has to be implanted in them, because then it makes them behave, Of course, a good education, can do the same and probably better. But, if it's the control of conduct, the control of behavior through rules and laws and things is what's the fundamental thing. So that, if you're not moved by your own morals and you do the right thing automatically, right, which is what I normally try to do, right? Let's say that if you don't have that, at least you'll do it because you're afraid of the law. You're afraid of going to jail or something, right? Which is not the way to behave, but it's one way to control society.
In my opinion, that's what's wrong with America. They don't have no fear of God no more.
Yeah.
You said they feared God. They don't fear God no more.
Right.
They think they got this idea that the judgment's going to be, well done, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
but it's not.
Yeah.
And they don't.
The thing is,
it's like this fire, like all these fires in California.
They're being set.
They're
being set.
Yeah, I know. But Who let them set it?
Huh?
Who let them set it?
I think that is it's my interpretation of it. I think that those people are being sent there by some government or somebody in order to produce pain for America, Might be the Chinese Communist Party, might be the Venezuelan government, through the infiltration of illegals in the American South.
What did you say, Jess?
They arrested a illegal agreement. You're one of the parts.
Hey, he just said they arrested one of the illegal aliens for the fire.
Right.
But,
Then we don't know what they ask him, right? It's like when they arrest, for example, a Muslim. They say his name is Sharik something, 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 but you don't say he is a Muslim and that he's acting on the Muslim criminal agenda.
it don't matter who did it.
Yeah.
Or who's doing it.
Yeah.
If they take these people
Yeah.
and put them through hell and learn them they can't get away with stuff like this. They can't cause people to die and lose their homes.
Yeah, somebody like that, for example. I have an idea here, for example, about part of our problem is that our criminal laws is ridiculous.
If there's no consequences, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But when there's consequences, people think twice.
That's
it's like a man going to rob a bank.
It's what Solon said way back in 563 BC. He says, I'm going to write my laws in such a way as to make people behave, find that it's more convenient, more profitable to behave than not to behave, right?
I mean, it don't matter. It don't matter if they're movie stars, they got plenty of money, or where they ain't got money.
Yeah.
These kind of people needs to be taught a lesson.
Oh, yeah.
And they need to be an example.
Yeah, but I don't think that organized crime, for example, should be run through the criminal system of judges and juries and stuff. I think they should be considered a terrorist organization. They should be dealt with by the military. They should be judged in a kind of a well-constituted legal chamber. What I call star chamber, right? And they should be judged. They should be judged in absentia, in other words, in absence, not public, and then they should simply be put to death. And if we had a system like that for organized crime and these sorts of crimes, then I'm sure that the organized crimes would simply leave the country and go work in Germany or in some other place. They wouldn't be working here because they know that the full weight of the law is going to come down at. No such thing as a lawyer to defend you. We already know you're the criminal. We know you did it. We've done our research. We're going to come and kill you, right? Which is something that's, the problem over in El Salvador is that he's just putting them in jail. That doesn't solve the problem. You have to kill those people, right? It's war, okay? Organized crime is a terrorist organization. It's not like a pickpocket or a guy who killed his wife or beat his girlfriend. It's a totally different kind of thing. It should not be dealt with by the same legal system that's every, normal citizen would have. No, it has to be a completely different kind of thing, right? It has to be well done, well constituted, superbly watched, and then the full. If we know that these 80 people here are doing these things, we're going to come down at a certain hour, like the King of France did with the Templars, and simply wipe them all out at the same time, And, it has to be like a black bag job kind of thing.
Well,
that's the only way to solve the problem of organized crime in the country. You cannot solve it by putting people in jail and then making me pay taxes to support him for 50 or 80 years.
Yeah, but
forget about it.
And then again, if you put them to death, and you're putting them to death for murder, okay, you're a murderer too.
No.
To me, it's taking a life.
Murder is something that.
Well, murder, not.
You see what I mean?
You're killing. You're not murdering.
Yeah, it's not. No, war is not murder. War is war.
Yeah.
Murder is, you killed your friend or you shot your wife or whatever.
Yeah,
that's murder. Okay.
That's missing.
War is war.
Killing.
Okay.
Killing.
Yeah, we should. In other words,
intentional killing is murder.
Right. But when you do what I'm suggesting here, then you're talking about this is self-defense here. This is self-defense, social self-defense against evil people, right?
But
okay.
Until you do away with all of them, don't pick on one organization.
Well, we have these
do
things.
Them all.
Yeah, you have to define who is included in this group and what rules we're going to use. All these things already exist. The CIA, the FBI, all they already have all this stuff written down. We just have to look at it and separate it and say, okay, we're going to wipe these people out because they're just bad dudes, Well, and that has to be legal, and everybody has to know about it. And every organized crime guy out there has to know it's coming, right? Okay. It's war.
Well, it's basically like
they're making war on us.
It's like this.
We're going to wipe them out.
You decide to do that. Be in organized crime.
Yeah.
You know the cost of it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in the mafia, the Hell's Angels, the rappers, all the different gangs. When you join them, you know the cost. You know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Yeah, they should learn that in school from first grade on.
I mean, they know the rules.
Yeah. As far as, let's go back to you say that the problem is that people have lost religion. Well, they've been losing religion for a long time. You cannot, let's say, entirely depend on religion because, let's face it, religion, the history of Christianity is not pretty when you look back at it. There are all kinds of crazies there killing people and burning them at the stake in the name of God, So what you need, as, let's say, okay, go ahead with, if you want to go to church, go to church. But I would say that we have to teach morals and ethics and things like that in the schools, right? Philosophically.
But real religion is not taught. Real religion of Jesus Christ is not taught to hurt anyone.
Yeah, no.
To do any wrong.
Yeah.
To hurt your brother, your friend.
Right.
Don't matter race.
And you don't have to be
hate.
Right.
You ain't supposed to hate nobody.
Right. And you don't have to be a Christian to accept that idea of respecting ideals and treating your neighbor kindly or something like that, right? But let's say I would say that in order as a replacement of those who are no, you don't. It's obvious that you don't have to be religious to be a moral person.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are not religious and they behave properly and they have the right attitude. Why? Because they sort of feel that way, or they learned it by studying Aristotle's ethics or Spinoza's ethics or somebody like that, right?
My mother always says you don't have to be a Christian to be decent.
Yeah, right. That's that's right. In fact, let me say this: my experience with religious people has not always been positive. I felt sometimes I'm more Christian than they are, even though I'm not. When I lived among the Mormons, I followed all the rules at the university there. They followed all the rules or most of the rules that you're supposed to. And I could tell that, let's say, if not using cuss words or something like that, or having,
But you wasn't a Mormon. You wasn't a Mormon.
I was not.
No, but you respected their...
Yeah. And it was easy for me to do it, and there was a way to do it, right? To respect those laws and those rules. Let's say, you can't drink, so I didn't drink. You can't have coffee, so I didn't have coffee. Treat your girlfriend as if she were your sister with respect and stuff like that, And I could tell that, a lot of Mormons there, especially those from California, they use all kinds of cuss words all the time, and they were behaving in such a way.
Them, but you don't agree with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went on my phone. It's the stupidest thing to put on a show. This man praying, making like he's in the spirit. People jumping around, flopping around. The real spirit don't put on a show. If you remember Jesus Christ, when he healed somebody, he cast out devils, he raised the dead. You know what he told them? Don't say nothing about it. Just go out there and let them see it.
Uh-huh.
But they put on shows now.
Yeah.
They imitate. They try to mock God. They mock God. That's what they do.
Well, a lot of them. I mean, especially these mega churches and all these people. I just went to a mega church. I went to Brazil a couple of weeks ago, and my friend there, she's a Baptist, so she took me to two mega churches. I was horrified by what I saw there. All they want is money. They're always talking about the need for money and all that.
When you go to a real preacher don't ask you for money.
Yeah.
He asks you for your soul and repentance.
Yeah,
he tells you what the cost of sin is. He tells you all that. He don't say, hey, you're going to hell now.
Right.
I mean, people told me, well, you talk to a lot of them movie stars, they're this, they're that. But they have a right to change what they are.
Right.
They have the right to hear the gospel. They don't hear the gospel from all these different churches. They make it up, and because they're big shot.
Yeah.
The Bible says, Jesus said, he didn't come to the rich. He didn't come he came for the lost. He came to the poor.
Yeah.
But you have opportunity, no matter how much money you got, how famous you are. You got to choose your own road. But see, these preachers want $1,000 to get a blessing. But I got news for anybody that listens to that crap. Jesus Christ loves you, and as much as he loves that preacher, if he is a preacher, which they call them pastors, they should be in a pastor. That's where they should be.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong now. God's got some good.
No,
he's got churches. And he's got people that's good Christian people.
I've heard sermons by different Presbyterian, Lutheran, Catholic priests.
Yeah.
And they there's a different quality, but you can actually tell whether the Spirit is not in him or is in him. And a lot of these guys nowadays, they're just in for the money. It's just an industry.
Well, I don't.
And you can tell by the way they talk.
I've been in a Catholic church.
Yeah.
My ex-wife was Catholic. I go to church with her, and they'd have the Lord's Supper.
Yeah.
And they would pass that cup around.
Yeah.
They drank a little grape juice, and then wipe the cup off, and everybody drank out of the same cup. I said, because there's a scripture in the Bible tells you, if you're not worthy, don't you take the Lord's Supper, because you drank and eat damnation to your soul if you're not worthy. So I said, just go and bash me. I'm not doing that because I ain't worthy. So, and I respect the Catholic Church, but I disagree with them.
Yeah.
But I respect anybody that is Catholic.
Yeah, the thing is that, for example,
people are good people.
If the preacher is really doing what he should do, right? If he's a real Christian, by his sermons and his behavior, he will make people feel that there's a need to contribute to this thing. He doesn't have to go around asking for people all the time. But these two churches I went to in Brazil, because my friend is a Christian, she wanted to take me, and I didn't want to just sit home and watch TV, So I went with her as an experiment, to say, okay, what's going on there? And I was really horrified. It was all about money and very poor understanding of the Bible, very poor understanding of Christianity. I don't know. It was just like a political party or something, right?
Well, the Bible, I studied the Bible. The Bible says it rains, the blessings rain, the rain rains on the wicked, rains on
the poor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like,
in other words,
yeah.
Jesus didn't die for the rich, just for the rich man.
Yeah.
He died for everyone.
Right.
It was no strings attacks.
Yeah.
Until you try, when you start trying to bum people and tell lies, God ain't gonna bless you for giving a dime. He owns your money anyway. It's just a loan. Elon Musk, he's worth $400 billion, but it's just a loan.
Yeah.
When he dies, he don't own nothing. He owns that soul he has in him,
Yeah.
but that's all he owns.
And I find it interesting what Luther said, because the whole Luther fight against the Catholics was about whether it's salvation by works or salvation by faith. And he said, well, if you have faith, then you're led to works, right? And if you don't, then whatever you do doesn't really matter.
Well, what I understand, it says faith without works is dead. And work without faith is dead.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to have them both.
Yeah. But
in other words, your works is not digging a ditch.
Yeah.
Your works is following what Jesus said, and your faith is what you believe.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, one thing which is at the bottom. The bottom is the understanding and the faith itself, and if you have that, then you're going to be led to works because it's automatically, right? As you automatically begin to become more moral and more concerned and more observant, and you're more likely to contribute to the improvement of your neighbors and all of that.
When I see it, I see you go to the altar, you repent of your sins, you get up, you go leave that altar, you don't go back drinking, whore hopping, and doing all the things you did. That's what I see.
Yeah.
And there's no one in this world enjoyed sin more than I did at one time. But one time I got sick of it and asked God to forgive me, and I don't do those things anymore.
Right, right.
If it cost me $50,000 and you ask me a question, I won't lie to you. I mean, I don't tell you to lie to us for money. I tell you the truth. If you want the truth, I will tell you the truth. And it's like, see, and I'm going to use Donald Trump for example. He got involved with this woman, and he shouldn't have done it.
Shouldn't have done it.
And it come back on him because he was doing wrong. All right? He had it hid, but the Bible said everything hid shall be made open.
Yeah, but I think that as far as...
But that was between his wife and him and God, not the whole world.
Yeah.
Because how many of those politicians up there in Washington called escorts and all these people and women and all that and have their little sexual parties?
Oh, yeah.
Not all of them, but a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
I like Jimmy Carter. I always thought Jimmy Carter was a good man when it comes to that. He loved his wife. I don't know what he did in the past, but I always liked Jimmy Carter's moral ways. But I didn't like his policies.
Yeah.
I liked him as a person. And that's what wins other people. It's your personality. There's a song that says the Bible is the only, your life is the only Bible some people read. They look at you, they say what you claim to be, and you act that way. Now, I got a bad reputation, old days. But look at me now, not what I was. And look at one another like what you were, not what you are now. Basically, I'm saying not what you're at. Judgment on everybody. People say, well, they went to hell. You don't know where they went to hell. God might have said, I'll forgive you. They might have asked him to forgive them. But, I mean, what people's actions, though, we assume they go to hell. But today, everybody goes to heaven. Nobody goes to hell. So it's that's all these problems are caused by by lack of education in the fundamental sense. Education means you're not going to stuff the minds of people with your own ideas. You will help each student discover by himself, by herself, gradually through study and experience and all kinds of things, what it is that they want to do, what it is that what life is all about, and all that. What I tell people
to get them to so that they develop their own convictions rather than being just the victims of somebody else's ideas.
Yeah, if you desire the truth, you read that Bible,
Yeah.
and you desire the truth, He'll give you the truth. You don't have to go to some dictionary to look it all up. It comes out by the Spirit. See, people look at it, they read the Bible like they're reading some book.
They don't read the Bible. Nobody reads the Bible. They just pick they just pick a
verse.
a little verse here and there or something, and they don't take that into context.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it says for you to basically compare and read the Bible and compare the scriptures and study, But see, men has perverted the Bible by writing books and give their version of what this scripture says or that scripture. I mean, this word don't mean that, that's the Greek word, it means that. Bah. It's got the people so confused they don't know which way to go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I am. I've seen it. Yeah.
There's a scripture in the Bible, and Revelation says people wondered whose name was written in the book of life. And that's what people today look around at what's going on in the religious world. They're looking for the truth, but they're trying to figure out, is my name written in the book of life, or is their name? But they need to get with the Lord and let Him tell them. And His Spirit is like nothing else you ever felt. It's not a copy. It's not excitement that dancing around, jumping around, hollering, screaming, playing.
It's an essence of the good, right? That's what it is.
He's not in a show. He's not a showman. Lord is not a showman. And that's what we got, a lot of showmen.
We got a lot of work to do here, and making America great again is a lot longer, and will take a lot longer.
Together, they can. If everybody come together and forget all their races on,
even under our
get over 150 years ago. I mean, I wasn't there. If I'd have been there, I'd have been taken up with the blacks because that was wrong.
Oh, there are all kinds of things done wrong in the past, and somehow the country survived, but the problems we have today started a long time ago. Let's say they've always been there in a sense, but they began to multiply probably between 1880 and 1920 or 30, and of course they ended up. There was this idea that Marxist idea, basically, that the market system is evil and that leads to exploitation, and socialism, communism is going to bring in the new heaven and the new earth, right? Well, as a result of that, abroad, millions of people were killed, right? In America, it changed many of the laws and the conceptions that we have, and that's at the seed of this partisan COVID. It's still with us, and it's still running the show.
Well, since Adam was created, it's continued to be corrupt.
Right, but we have an obligation to make it less corrupt as we can, and in order to do that, we need to start thinking about new ways of handling our political life. Because under the rules, the basic conceptions we have, it's not working. So either America is going to go down, or it gradually, like Rome did, or we have a spiritual renaissance. And as a result of that, better laws and better forms of government, in spite of the imperfections, will come in and propel us into a better future, right? At the moment, I am worried, and I have pretty much concluded that it's not going to get better.
I'm to that same point till people change, but I believe what it says in the Bible, and I'm not surprised about nothing.
About what?
I said I'm not surprised that nothing happens.
Oh.
Nothing surprises me. I mean, I ain't saying nothing can't, but I mean, here lately, nothing surprises me. And
Yeah, well, when you have, what's the fundamental idea of that we've had in the last 750 years, basic, or going back to French Revolution, is the idea that there's no truth, that there's no such thing as truth, that is like that corrupt senator in the movie The Shooter with Mark Wahlberg,
yeah.
in which he says, the truth is what I say it is, right? And that's the kind of idea that has been running the Western world since about that. Hey, get out of here. What do you need?
Come here.
Get over there.
Come here.
Go there.
And so,
And
that movie, you brought that up.
Right.
I was in a movie with that guy up in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Warren Beatty. It was Warren Beatty.
Who?
The senator was Warren Beatty.
No. There was Ned Beatty.
Daddy Beatty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
Norton Beatty.
Yeah, the truth is what I say it is, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what's happening out there with politics because, let's go back to the idea of democracy. Democracy is, the truth is what the majority says is the truth, rather than what the truth actually is, And so through voting, we pretty much give the politician a carte blanche, right, to go ahead and do what he wants, right?
Yeah.
And they do. They do what they want. I mean, look at this absurdity of it getting the country to the point where, number one, the economy cannot produce enough revenue. And so you have a debt of $35 trillion in order to make up the difference. Well, the solution is not to raise the debt ceiling. The solution is to reduce the number of departments that we have, 15 or 20, I don't even know how many, to about maybe 7, like what they're trying to do in Argentina, right? This is pretty much what Milton Friedman. Why would Milton Friedman get did he live for nothing? He gets the Nobel Prize for Economics, and capitalist America doesn't listen to what he says and does not reduce the number of departments. For example, he says, we don't need Department of Energy. Education? Probably not. Interior? Maybe you could reduce it to a few areas. And all of these department for what? And then there are the agencies within these departments and all sorts of subsidies and National Endowment for the Arts and National Endowment for the Humanities, whatever, which end up being just jobs for connected artists and other people to spend money and all sorts of, like through different departments. Billions of dollars spent on, supposed scientific research to find out how bats mate and things like that, Who cares?
Yeah, what do you think about Elon Musk? What do you think Elon Musk, what do you think about him?
I don't know anything about him except what I hear in the press. I think he's well-intentioned, but I think that he doesn't know enough about economics. I think he knows very little about political science and political philosophy, except in a superficial sense. But he's not, he's not a minister. He's not a director. He's just like an assistant trying to suggest ways for Congress to cut this or that. Is Congress going to cut? I don't think so. I don't see those Republicans cutting anything. I think they're going to vote to raise the debt ceiling next year when they, or the next time, they're going to say, well, then, It's either that or the government is going to shut down, you know. The way things are right now, I think that unless we have elected some really moral people here with Trump, the next time there's the threat of a government shutdown, they're going to raise the debt ceiling again and borrow more money from you know, put the country into great debt.
I wish the interest rate go down for people.
Huh?
Interest rate. I like to see it go down for other
Yeah,
people.
but that's another problem. In other words, that should be determined by the market and not by the Federal Reserve. There should be no Federal Reserve lowering or raising the interest rate to create a problem that they themselves created in order to solve that problem, which they should not have created in the first place, which is what monetary inflation, expansion of credit and the money supply will do to any country, right? I mean, you can get to the point where, like in Germany in between 1919 and 24, in which people had to take a wheelbarrow of money to go buy a pound of potatoes at the store.
Yeah.
And they went early in the morning because by 4 in the afternoon, the price may have doubled already.
Or
That's
all
how-
gone.
That's how crazy it was. Well, when you start looking at all these things, something had to be done.
Yeah. We appreciate every one of you tuning in to our show and watching all this words of wisdom that Jose has told us about. And we want you to be sure to tune in for each segment when we split this up, edit this, and we hope that you're going to enjoy every bit of it. And be sure to subscribe to Talking Live now. Don't forget that. And we appreciate you all.
The views and opinions expressed on all Talkin' Live presentations are those of the host and their guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Talkin' Live TV broadcast studio, or by this channel or its management.
Hello world! Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notifications of our upcoming broadcasts. Explore our large archive of shows. Watch any episodes you need to see again. Find our YouTube channel online at youtube.com/@Talkin' Live Show, or on your Roku or Amazon Fire TV home screen. Head to the YouTube app to watch without the need of any expensive cable TV service. Subscribe today. Get ready for some Talkin' Live.